Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS. In this one, once again, this is more of videos that I recorded but never uploaded when they were timely. Talking about the Book of Boba Fett, I'm going to go ahead and put a reel together of all the shorts that I was going to release that I recorded as the episodes went on. And just didn't, because at first I thought they were going to be spoiler. And then episode 3 happened and I wasn't going to watch the rest of the show. And then afterwards I just didn't get around to it. And then after the show ended, I kind of did a podcast that is not necessarily a review of the show, but more or less a of what I would have liked to see. Now, this is my fan expectations. I don't expect them to have done this, but these are just things that I would have thought were cool. I say that this show was 80% good, 15% awful, and 5% missed potential. So this is mostly kind of talking about the missed potential, a little bit of complaining about what I thought was awful, and a little bit of me talking about what I thought was really cool, but mostly talking about how I would have taken the basic structure of what they had and added to it to put it to that level that would have, in my opinion, elevated the show. However, I fully recognize that I am couch directing. If I had been handed this as a blank sheet from the director, I don't write dialogue, I don't do that, I wouldn't have been able to come up with a competent show on my own. So take that with a grain of salt. I am not trying to suggest that in any way I could have created this superior Book of Boba Fett show. I'm not a director. I'm not a Hollywood writer. But these are things that, to me, some of them seem so obvious that it's frustrating that they didn't happen. And some of the things that they did that I didn't like, it's also one of those things where it felt like this was the first draft, and I've, through different podcasts like Best Movies Never Made, getting to hear early first drafts of movies and shows, it really goes into how they throw stuff against the wall and they really depend on, well, we're going to do another 3 passes on this script to iron it out. And Book of Boba Fett, to me, felt like a first or second draft, and definitely not the third or final draft. So that was kind of my thing, is that there were a lot of sloppiness to some of the plot, the pacing, and different things. And, I can be passing on that on the show, but with Star Wars, I just expect more from Star Wars, especially because I don't look at these as like the non, back when we were getting like the Ewok movies and that kind of stuff, it was so fringe, licensed out stuff. It wasn't being head up by the main people. But this is Lucasfilm, making these things in-house to be all canon. And with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau involved in this, I really had higher hopes. So with that, overall, I enjoyed Book of Boba Fett. It's not offensive as some of the movies are to me, but it very mixed feelings. So with that, like I said, I'm going to play the shorts and then we'll go into my main podcast. Enjoy. Okay, my quick thoughts on the first episode of Book of Boba Fett. It looks like it's going to be a good show. It's had some rough pacing. There were some things I didn't like. I wish that, as long as we've been waiting for him to come out of the Sarlacc pit, they would have just extended that scene a little bit more. I loved all the stuff with the Tuskens, the Jawa giving him the boot as he comes out. That was like hilarious. When he's accepting the tribute, there were some cool things there, but then like the Twi'leks in this show just feel off to me. They I think it's how they talk. It's just kind of off. And then I like the Sand People. They're really cool. So I want to see more of that. So that's my under a minute review. Hey, this is Nicholas with Backyard TARDIS, and I watched Book of Boba Fett episode 2 last night. Thought I'd give my thoughts. So right off the bat, I like this episode. I do think the first part is just a little slow. The part where we're in the post-Mando timeline, it's kind of moving slow. We're not really seeing Boba make any progress or taking charge. So that's kind of the low part. The Hutts did look cool. Black Chrysanthemum. Whoa. He is cool. And went into a complete deep dive finding out his backstory. But the Tusken stuff, man, the pikes. We got the pikes and the train, and all of that was great. And I've already seen on people online making fun of the go fast, go slow. That's 30 seconds. If that's holding you up, no. This is a great episode, and I'm looking forward to more. Catch you in the next video. Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here, and I did not like Book of Boba Fett Episode 3. Kudos to you if you did, but here's why I didn't. Starts off with a guy saying, "Nobody respects you, Boba Fett." Way to vocalize how the fans are feeling. Why? Well, let's see. We kill off in this episode that beautiful storyline with the Tusken Raiders. It means nothing. They're dead. They're gone. What are we replacing them with? The mods. Yes, Boba Fett now has some teeny bopper muscle, driving Vespas that move so slow, it is so ridiculous. They needed more power. And then you have the one moment that might be cool, Black Chrysanthemum taking, but once again, he's taken down by these mods, making him way less cool. Some of them should have died. I'm done. No more Book of Boba Fett for me. I'm out of this show. Goodbye. Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here with another short review of the Book of Boba Fett. I know after episode 3 I said I swore off the show. I skipped episode 4. But episode 5 came out and everybody was telling me, hey, this is really Mandalorian season 3 premiere. So you got to watch it. So I did, and it was awesome. We see the Mandalorian on a bounty quest, and he goes in and he's like, I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold. And the guy chooses cold. It was great. It was awesome. And then he's on like some Halo ring planet. That was kind of cool. And then he gets a whole bunch of Mandalorian lore drop with the armorer. And he battles with the other guy over the Darksaber. And then he reveals that he took his mask off and he got disfellowshipped. And it all ends with Fennec coming in and saying, hey, we need you for the next episode. So I am back on the Book of Boba Fett. Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS, here with another Book of Boba Fett review. After episode 5 was so good, I decided to go back and watch episode 4 that I had skipped. And I have to say that while many told me that it was great and starting to get the show better, especially because of Black Chrysanthemum, I have to go, meh. I really think that while he is cool, and it was really cool seeing him pull Boba out of there, the fact that he's taking on the mods and, like, he didn't kill one of them, like, they're pretty weak compared to him, and it really brought him down. And then everyone was so excited about him versus the Trandoshan and ripping the arm off. I have never seen a Trandoshan act so cowardly. Like, he must have been the nerdy Trandoshan, and his arm just popped off like a Lego man. It's not bad. If episode 3 hadn't been there, I might have liked this, but yeah, I'm eh. Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS, here with another short review of Book of Boba Fett Episode 6. This episode should be titled Everyone is Here. Just like in Super Smash Bros. Mean Everyone is Here. We start out, we got Mando and Cobb Vanth. Cobb Vanth is a great character from Mandalorian Season 2. And then we get Cobb Vanth versus Cad Bane. Live action Cad Bane. Amazing. Okay, now we've got, we've got Mando go sees Ahsoka, and then we see Luke training Grogu, so we got Grogu, and then we get Ahsoka talking to Luke. How amazing. We got a little Black Chrysanthemum in here. We've got, but the biggest one of all is we get a appearance of Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. Yep, he is standing there and he nods in true nod to Empire Strikes Back. All right. Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here with another short review of the Book of Boba Fett season finale. And I feel about this show pretty much the way, this episode, the way I do about the whole show. It's 80% good, amazing, awesome hype, 15% absolute awful trash, and 5% of complete missed potential. That might be on me for what I wanted from this. Rancor, awesome. Boba Fett, just all that awesomes. The mods, boo. Piggy's lives matter. Why are they the only ones that can die? Black Chrysanthemum, cool. It just back and forth, back and forth. It was just every time it was something really cool, and then something really dumb would take me completely out of it. Fun, but not the best. Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS. You just watched some clips that originally I had intended to release, but as with all the other podcasts you've been seeing, I haven't been actually uploading and releasing my content. So I'm doing it now. I put that at the beginning of this just as a fun thing, but welcome to another Random Thoughts podcast. I've already derailed it. This time talking about the Book of Boba Fett. Now, with a lot of these Disney Plus shows, I have not done a dedicated podcast to them afterwards. I do plan on doing an MCU so far as soon as I can bring myself to watch the Eternals. Hopefully that'll be, if not my next one, maybe the one after that. My next one, depending on when this releases, will probably be the Red 5 February roundup. But we'll see how soon I get these things out. But I'm wearing my Salty Nerd hat today. Thank you guys. A really great benefit perk of being part of their Patreon. But because I'm a little bit salty. Yeah. Book of Boba Fett. Overall, this is a show that was a roller coaster of a ride of emotions for me. At no point did I feel it was so insulting and destroying of the character of Boba Fett, like Luke in The Last Jedi or Vader in the Attack of the Clones. But I also feel like it did not do his character justice. And a lot of people have been making the comment, well, like, he does, he's all hype, but he does hardly anything in the OT movies. So, they've made him so much more of a character. Now, here's the problem with that. You're right. In the OT movies, hardly anything. And then, but his, from the holiday special onward, like, this character has received probably the most love from the expanded universe. And fans were already a little upset when a lot of his backstory and different things from the thing were originally retconned during the prequels. But even that added to his character and stuff. In the Clone Wars, we get to see a little bit of his personality, different things, and that kind of takes up. But what everybody says, what did you expect? Everything that we love about Din Djarin, about The Mandalorian, those are all what Boba Fett was in the EU. And when Boba Fett stepped on the scene in Mandalorian, he 100% delivered that. We saw him not only wielding the gaffy stick, having that whole thing, but then he gets into his armor and he's just mowing people down. And that was a Robert Rodriguez episode. And this is a Robert Rodriguez show, and I kind of thought that was why they gave him this show, because he did so well with Boba Fett. Now, he went in a lot of interviews and said he didn't want this to feel like The Mandalorian. He wanted it to have more of the gangster feel, less of the, Western, although I would say there are a lot of Western moments in this. I think Boba Fett is unique enough. I think, so, I'm gonna talk about my general thoughts episode by episode. I'm going to have little rants and tangents, talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, but also at the end, I'm going to do the fun thing of say how I would have rewritten the show. And as always, when I do something like this, I try to stay in the network with the general show they put, so not from the ground up. And I do want to add this caveat: if you had handed me this show, I would have failed miserably. I don't have any ability as a director, any ability as a TV writer. From a blank slate, I would have just been probably copying something out of an EU book, just direct adapting. Like, because that's where my nerd mind would go. I don't write dialogue, I don't. So we can all sit here and say how easy it would be. It's not easy. It's not easy, and I don't fault them. This has a very big feeling of a rush because there's a podcast called Best Movies Never Made, and oftentimes they will read scripts of movies that weren't made that were in early drafts of movies that changed drastically. And also, another podcast, same network, part of the Electric Now network, is the Inglorious Trexperts, and they will read like some of the scripts for Star Trek from before, like first draft. Changes drastically. So I've kind of learned that rough drafts are put in and then major changes are made. Now, there was a lot of stuff in this that I felt like it's kind of like thought garble. Like writers just throw out thought garble at the screen, at the paper, and they have to write dialogue and stuff, but they're planning on going back and fine tuning, and it just feels like they never got to do that. And I think with actors and different things going on, Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, somebody involved in the Mandalorian wasn't available and couldn't do Mandalorian season 3. And so the Book of Boba Fett is basically this stopgap of we couldn't get all the pieces we needed in time for Mando season 3, maybe even not even this year, and we don't want to go 2 years between Mandalorian shows, despite the fact that we have all these other Star Wars shows. We don't want to have this humongous gap between seasons of Mandalorian, so we are going to put a season of Book of Boba Fett. My first thing that I would do to fix this is to call it Mandalorian Season 3, The Book of Boba Fett. Like a little title underneath. Like they do the whole intro like they normally did, and it's Mandalorian Season 3, Book of Boba Fett. And I would have started out the first episode with that scene from The Mandalorian, that end credit scene, boom, and then go X amount of years prior. Do him getting out of the Sarlacc pit. Now, I think it was really cool seeing him come out of the Sarlacc pit. I don't think it was as cool as it was. It felt unsatisfying. It was kind of like one of those things where, yes, it's overhyped. It is something that has been done a couple of times in the EU, but we're finally getting to see it on screen. This is something that nerds have debated about how he gets out for years. And of course, a lot of people say he doesn't get out. And until they brought him back in The Mandalorian, it's like, no, he got out. But how? How could he have done that? And I feel like I saw Matt Vader, speaking of salty nerds, he said, I didn't need to see that. Of course he got it, I'm sorry, but us fans would have rioted if we didn't get to see it. My thing is that it was a minute, maybe, that took to get him out. I'm not saying that we needed a whole episode dedicated. No. Give it at least 5 minutes. even if they'd taken that and they just given a few more minutes, like they had lingered on it, made that an event, because this is one of the most hyped events in Boba Fett history, and we want to see it. We want to see it right. So I think more struggle, more that would have been good. So like I said, start out right from that deleted scene, then the thing that says this many years prior. Go back and do the whole Tusken Raider thing. Okay? And that's the rest of the first episode, is all the stuff with the Tusken Raiders, and have that be a full 50-minute episode. So what are you using with that extra time? You're taking what was shown in the modern time, or I hate that term, the modern time. This is all prequel. This is, because Star Wars now you have the sequels, you have the Mandalorian that's here, and this is kind of dancing in and around that. You have Return of the Jedi, the prequels. The Star Wars timeline, this is in the middle of it. So yes, we have 2 time periods that we're focusing on, but none of them are current time. Current time is kind of a wonky thing when you're doing a show that's set in the middle of things. But it is the most recent time in the show. But I think if you'd gone there and say go back, get rid of the back to tank. I don't mind the back to tank being there, but the idea, definitely we should have seen him in the back to tank. I think it would have been cool if we saw him looking gruff like he was in the other show, and then getting in the back to tank and getting messed up, or getting better. But I think using the back to tank as the method to going to the past, I don't think you need that. I think you can do the 2 storylines. And this is my thought, is so you do that, and what are we doing with that extra time? Well, that little bit that we had from the end of the other show, that's less time than what we showed in the modern time. So now we're getting rid of all the modern time out of the first episode. We put in more of the Tusken stuff from the second episode. Maybe even fit the whole train heist. All of that into an episode. And then put the... wouldn't that have been a killer episode? Like if that was the opening episode, we kind of saw the beginning, we saw him come out, this all the way, and culminating in the train heist thing. Now everybody mocks the train. The train doesn't make sense. This isn't the first time we've seen a train in Star Wars. We saw it in Solo, and honestly, in a planet that has, I think it's 3 or 4 cities on it, that you can fly directly to any of them, why you'd be training stuff across the desert, I don't know. I let that slide because guess what? If the whole show was great, nobody would care about that. There's lots of stuff in Star Wars that logistically doesn't make sense because it's a fantasy. We want a train heist, so there's a train. Don't think too hard about it. That's fine. I'm not super critical about Star Wars in that way because Star Wars never has been something like that. So I think that would have been an amazing first episode. And then in the next episode, we introduce the splitting of time. So maybe, and as far as like the going back in, you don't need the back to tank to do that. You can just do it. And I think the back to tank should still be involved in the show. I just don't think it needs to be the only way we go back and forth in time. And I have a reason for that. Because I think the second episode, you should show a little more. Now, here's my big thing. My issue, because seeing the Pikes episode 2, I was hyped. Episode 1, like, it was wonky. And the new stuff, or the newer timeline was really boring. And the Tuscan timeline, for a lot of people, is what's the point of this? So my big thing is I would have gone back, done the Tuscan time as something where the Tuscans, in the second episode, he goes. We have the whole scene where they get attacked. I wouldn't kill them all off, but I would have killed the leader, and I don't think I would have killed the woman. Maybe I would have killed the kid. I think that would have been enough but I would have kept a fraction of the tribe and maybe the woman there. And I could have had it where Boba either wants to rally them to attack, and they're of the mindset that they're going to run because they're a non-confrontational tribe, or that she blames Boba for that. It's kind of hard. They're not talking, so. But I think it would have been important to leave a portion of that tribe alive, and I would have had them then go join the tribe that had made peace with Freetown. I think that narratively, we might not have seen it, but we could have had that happen, and that would come into play later. So now Boba is back on his own, and he's enraged. I think here's the next thing. We have the Hutts, the twins come in. I thought the twins were awesome. And I thought Black Chrysanthemum was awesome. I'm not changing anything about their appearance in this. So in the second one, we come forward to the modern times. We're getting the tributes. I would have had the situation with the mayor. I would have kind of done that a little bit differently. This is a seedy planet. The mayor is so government official. I would have had, was it Garza's Whip or whatever, the Slunar? She could have played the mayor. I think of, or, they could have done what they did with the mayor, but I think the Hutts coming in, and I think they should have played up that Bib Fortuna was a big part of the Hutts. So that's why they're there. And so I kind of would have probably put the Hutts in that. I would have still kept that in like the third episode. I would have had in this one, we have that. We have like the death of the Tuscan tribe, and now we're getting the tributes, maybe meeting the mayor. I would have changed the Major Domo. He did not work for me. The whole Coruscant train thing. I get that that's a thing, and I also get that in Star Wars they have not. But this is a backwater planet. Why is some trained in negotiations on Coruscant individual here, and that, when Jabba was using somebody that was like, Jabba no bother, it just, I would have liked someone who would have committed maybe a little bit more to that. Or everybody doesn't have to be a Twi'lek. There's like Twi'leks all over this planet. We got two new main, we got 1, 2, 3, I think we saw at least 4 in this, and 2 of them are main characters. In Mandalorian, we got introduced to 2 main characters. We have her. It's like, why are there so many in this when there's other aliens that we could be giving some time to? So that's just kind of my thing. But I would have made a point of having the Hutts come in and be a big player. And I don't think I would have had them step aside for the Pikes. I would have had them instead him spare Black Chrysanthemum's life and just have Black Chrysanthemum, and then, you give him free will to go. And that be reason that when he hires him, they go that. And I still would have had the Hutts back out. That's just how I would have done it. I would have not had that weird, odd thing. And I would have had, I would think that it would be important for him to get with these families. I would have had the different families warring with each other, not getting along on Tatooine. That Tatooine is in a mess. That Bib Fortuna was not really able to keep things in line, and it was a lot of stealing and this and that, but there's not all-out war because he was representing Hutts, but because they weren't directly there, it was falling apart. I would put that Boba doesn't have much of an army. I would definitely go get Boba some more muscle. And I think what would have been cool is if we could have a moment where Boba Fett hires all of his contemporaries. We had IG-11, IG-88, we had that in The Mandalorian. They've already put in the work for that. Bring that back out. Of course, that droid died, but now let's see the crazy assassin version from Legends. Bring him in on Boba's team. Bring in, and you can have Black Chrysanthemum and him clash, but bring in Bosk. Bring in, but anyways, a reuniting of that, and maybe if you want to, you put Bosk working with Cad Bane, and I would bring Cad Bane in sooner, because I would have Cad Bane show up and be the motivating factor. Maybe have him show up with some muscle and with some notable bounty hunters, and have him basically make the Hutts want to get out, say, we're here for the Pikes, and the Pikes are laying claim, and have the Hutts be like, we're going to back off. But the whole, and Rancor, have been Bib Fortuna's, have it just so that Boba buys it. Because he realizes after they had the thing that he's got this pit, it's supposed to have a Rancor in it. He needs it. It'll establish his power. But then if you have like that whole Empire Strikes Back canon on one of the two sides, plus you have Fennec Shand, plus you have Black Chrysanthemum, plus you have Cad Bane. So you're taking together pretty much all the major Star Wars bounty hunters that people know and love, and you put them in here on either side. It's going to make that ending battle much bigger. And then when we see the bar scene, here's another one. Black Chrysanthemum. Love him. Dude's scary. The mods. Here's the big thing, and I am super critical of the mods. The two things I am most critical in this show are the mods and the way the Tuskens just died off early in the show. We spent the first 2.5 episodes was all about them, and then we kill them off, and then they're not part of the rest of the show. And it's kind of like, what was the point of those first few episodes? Just a teeny tiny bit of motivation for Cad Bane to be able to dig in at Boba at the end? No. Like I said, I would have still had that in a way, but left a little bit of a linger there. Then come in the mods. I think the mods are a cool idea. Just like I thought Canto Bite was a cool idea, done very poorly. I would have taken the mods and I would have continued with the colorful look. However, I would have made it like the pod racers. Bright colors that looks like they've had some sand damage. Make it look like there's been some wear and tear. Okay, now they're looking cool. The individuals, I would have made them look a little more buff. I would have definitely cast different. Now, if you cast a charismatic female actor who is kind of skinny like that, but she's got a robot arm and she's good at martial arts or something, and you give her some witty dialogue and do that, she can be fun. The mods had no real good dialogue. They had no good action, and they looked like people from a coffee shop. They from Hot Topic shoppers. They didn't look intimidating in any way, shape, or form, and they didn't do anything that was amazing. And then when their shiny bikes, moved super slow, it was a complete letdown. So I might have, you could have had those characters, but I don't know if they have the ability to act in the way I'd want them. But I think that would be key, is a little bit change in casting, a little bit of a change on the bike design, not a lot, just a little, still a nod to the mods, biker gang, but moped gang, whatever you want to call it. But I would have just, roughed them up a little bit. And then you have how Finnick is shaped. She's saved in a very unbelievable way. And I'm sorry, but back to tanks and modding cannot be an undue death thing. Let's get rid of that. So let's have him be a lot closer when she dies. And let's see him apply a med kit. Let's see him stabilize her, because I've seen people do breakdown videos that, based on where the sun is, like it took him almost a day to get there, or half a day, and then another day to get her to the mod thing, and she's bleeding out from her gut. Now maybe he did put some med kit thing on it, maybe he had like a Bacta band-aids or something, who knows. But they come in and they're just putting pistons in the stomach, which is once again like, wouldn't you need like tubes and stuff? Here's how I would have solved actually all of it. And I would have just had her be a cyborg to begin with. We have nothing in canon that says she's not. It could be the big reveal. She got shot there. It was a death shot. Boba Fett comes on her, and she's a cyborg, and she just needs to be booted back up. So he takes her over to the mods, because they work on cybernetics, and boom, bada bing, she's better. But that would be a character reveal, instead of having her basically be dead and then taken to a mod shop and then fixed a couple days. That's weird. So I would have just made that part of her character, expanding her character, because she is mysterious. She is an unknown. She's newer to the canon, so we don't have a ton of books that would, or comics or cartoons or something that would contradict that. Okay, so next up, we got a little bit scarier mods. When Black Chrysanthemum does his thing, he 100% should have killed a mod. It's like, let's see him do something. Or better yet, you have people with robotic limbs. Let's have him rip a robot arm off. Because in the end, it can be made better. But of that. Now we're at the bar scene, and he's with the Transoceans. I want to see that play out, much like it did, but I want the Trandoshans to put up a fight. These are supposed to be, I mean, this is like, like Klingons versus Jem'Hadar. These are two warring races, and he comes up and it's like he's fighting the Sheldon Cooper of Trandoshans. Like the guy's like, and he pops an arm off like a Lego. Everybody was saying how cool that episode was because of that. It was underwhelming for me. Of all my images, now, you know me, I'm not somebody who likes violence. I like PG or PG-13. I'm not an R guy. So, no, I don't want gore, but like the arm just pops off. There's no blood. Like, it's one thing when it's a lightsaber, but, let's get some green Trandoshan blood or whatever. Let's see something that has a little bit more impact. So that's my critique there, is that, Black Chrysanthemum, as cool as he is, constantly just seems to, at the end, be a little lackluster. The fact that these wimpy mods take him, are able to help subdue him, and none of them get hurt. That the Trandoshans are they're like weakling Trandoshans, and he's able to beat them. I absolutely loved the Mandalorian episode. However, I would have first of all, this has got to be a 12 episode season, okay? So I would have had the first 3 episodes, I would have had that first episode be all in the past. Then episodes 2, I would have had it half and half. And episodes 3, I would have had majority in the present, but I would have had that one be the one that is where he finds Fennec, and have that and going and getting the slave one and all that. And yes, it's the slave one. I don't mind them referring to it as a fire spray to somebody who doesn't know his ship is the slave one, because that's going to be something people are going to maybe recognize better to somebody who isn't knowing Boba. But to Boba, it's the slave one. I would have shown all that and then transitioned. Okay, now we're in modern time. So that's the first 3 episodes. They're all 50-minute episodes. And we're going to have 12 episodes. And then in episode 4, I would have switched over to switching between Boba and the Mandalorian. And now we're in the current timeline with the Mandalorian. We've caught up. This is post Mandalorian season 2. And I would have shown, because remember, this is now season 3 of Mandalorian. I would have shown exactly what happened after that finale. I would have shown, what did Bo-Katan and, did they have a battle over it? Or did they not? But I would have shown that. And then I would have shown Boba Fett struggling, battling, arguing with each of these different factions on Tatooine. The Hutts have gone, and they won't give any support. And he's dealing with the Pikes, and so we've got all this going on, and then we find out that we resolve the issue with Mando. Next episode, once again, more Boba Fett dealing with the locals, dealing with the going around and the crime and the different things, finding mods, all these different kind of things. Black Chrysanthemum dealing with all that. And we have all the stuff from that Mandalorian episode where, I can bring you cold, I can bring you hot. That, make that once again a long episode. And the stuff with him getting the Star Cruiser, that's not in that episode. So we have everything with him on that mission, everything he got with the Darksaber, maybe even with him No, getting on the traveling thing, I think that'd be the next episode. Okay, so now that's episode 4. So episode 5 is all the stuff with him building the ship, traveling, all that kind of stuff. That happens there. More Boba Fett bounty hunter. Now, everyone thinks that when we say we want Boba Fett to be awesome, to be cool, to be takes that means he can't be good. No, Boba Fett can be good, but we want to see him be cool. We want to see him take action. We want to see him more in the helmet, out there walking around in the public with the helmet on, and coming into these things where he's talking with people and pulling the helmet off and looking them in the face and talking to them. That's cool. But have, when he's walking down the street, that helmet's on. There's him walking around with the helmet off and only putting it on when there's a battle. No, that's not how Boba Fett operated. But have him, when he's seriously trying to gain the respect of these people, have him take the helmet off to look them in the eyes. That's how you get his face in there, how you get him delivering dialogue like that. But for the majority of the show, he's not in it. Not with his helmet off. Okay, now we get to then the stuff going on in the next couple episodes. We have Luke and all that. I think that would have been a good tie-in. I think we could have, once again, maybe expanded a little more on with Rosario Dawson and Luke, but we split that up a little bit into 1 or 2 episodes. And once again, that is split with what's going on with Boba Fett. Now we're at episode 9. This is episode 9 is when we're going, or episode 9 or 10, this is when Cad Bane is really coming in. We're bringing in Cobb Vanth, and we're talking to Freetown and everything going on there. They're trying to bring in more people. And I think this is when Mandalorian should be bringing back in Bo-Katan. And I think there should be a thing where, he pays Bo-Katan money. She needs funds or whatever for their struggling resistance, and Boba Fett offers them that. And I really think that this should stream over to the next season where they're going to take Mandalore, and Boba Fett's going to come help, and it's going to be Mando, Boba Fett, and Bo-Katan and her crew going back to take Mandalore. And maybe Ahsoka and Sabine. And, so we can pull together for that. But start setting up the pieces. I would take... so here we have that, bringing them in it, and just kind of this more recruiting, building Boba Fett's army up. The mods, and another thing I would have added more Gamorrean guards, or more types of guards, whether they be aliens or stuff, from Jabba's people. I don't think it should have just been 2. The fact that he started out with an army of 2 really gave him no power. He was just an individual with Fennec Shan. But they're just, no more than a smuggling crew. So you're bringing in these characters, and it is, at this point, the last 2 episodes of the season are a 2-part battle. And those Scorpion droids, those were cool. I would have had a whole bunch more of them. I would have a bunch of them. And here's one of the things I didn't like. When the mod said, no, we're here to help and defend the people. Okay, staying in the city caused the city to be damaged. They were coming after Boba Fett. If Boba Fett had gone to his castle, they wouldn't be shooting up the city. That mod was dumb. I think they could have had the mod say that and have Boba put her in her place. Or not have the line at all. What I think is, once again, you have Garza's Flip. The whole thing happened there where it blows up. Don't have her dead. She's kind of got her own slightly respectable. In fact, maybe make a character like Bosk or or some other one of the main players that hadn't picked a side, make that like her right hand muscle. Make those guys that came out in the beginning, that the parkour people, make those her muscle. Make her the one who sent them. And then have it be like, okay, this is war. I'm joining you, Boba. Okay, they're coming on. Now they're Freetown. They go. They shoot Cobb Vanth. They shot the deputy. But Cobb Vanth, he took one to the shoulder, and let's put him in a sling. And when Boba says that he's going to get help, I want to see that he goes and Cobb Vanth is driving his ship. You know, that he puts him in there. And I want to see him on Boba on the Rancor. So that's why we got them both, because we got a whole bunch of these droids. And let's have them just wrecking the town. They're doing that to get at Boba. Well, let's have him come in and truly be defending it. Freetown shows up, and they're a little squad of people. No, I know COVID, but let's have a couple of those things come in. You know, let's make this battle feel epic, okay? Let's have some of them come in, and they're going to need, because we got an army of pikes, and then all our cool people need to be fighting the cool people on the other person's side. Let's bring in every one of those legacy bounty hunters, the actual bounty hunters, not people of those race, but let's have Bosk, let's have IG, let's have Dengar, let's have all these people. Bring back Gecko the bounty hunter. Like, bring him in. Okay? Like, we need to see these guys, all the big names, big battle. But have with them come, have it that Cobb didn't come. Maybe he came to get the Tuskens. He went to go and get the Tuskens. And he meets them at Boba's place. And that's when Boba gives him the ship. He takes the Rancor. And there's an army of Tuskens. And have the Tuskens come in. And I want to have that showdown with Cad Bane. And I want to have, first, a flashback. A flashback to the scene that never got made in Clone Wars. Let's see that scene. So we get to do it twice. We get to see the shootout between these two characters twice. Let's see him give the dent in Boba's head. Now you go back. You have this one in the modern time. And it happens just like it is. He's about to kill Boba. And have that female Tusken, have her do the Bantha cry. They're all doing that, and have that be a distracting moment to Cad Bane, who is trying to beat it into Boba's head that you've lost because you didn't follow the way that I trained you, boy. You didn't follow the path of only looking out for yourself. The moment you started depending upon others is the moment you lost. You went soft. The moment you started caring about others. And have the fact that he cares about others be why he ends up living and why he beats Cad Bane. You got your good guy moral story from your gruffy, not actually good character. Boom. There you go. Let's see him doing more throughout the show of the knee rockets, the jetpacking. Like, let's give him more obstacles that he has to overcome. But this is the new Boba Fett. This is Boba Fett saving people. This is Boba Fett deciding that this is his planet. This is his domain. And his domain, he's gonna have no problem selling drugs other planets. But not on his place, not on his family. That's what I want to see from Boba Fett. And I want to see Luke bring Grogu. Okay? Luke bring Grogu. And I want to see that kind of be a situation, and then that gives you another situation that you can have And this is of course me fan spitballing, but if Luke came and he got involved in the thing, we could have had it where it looked like at the end of the first one or at the beginning of the second one, it looks like Boba Fett won. You beat all these droids. You might even make this battle 3 episodes long. You beat all the droids. Everything looks like it's winning. Luke came, he helped just decimate. And what happens? Crimson Dawn comes back up. Yes, just as all the fans predicted, Crimson Dawn is involved. But there's one little thing, one little extra thing. Crimson Dawn has a character from Legends that we've been wanting to see. And that's Mara Jade, who wants to kill Luke Skywalker. And we have a Luke Skywalker versus Mara Jade battle. Once again, we're working our way towards Thrawn. We're working our way through all that kind of source material. So let's throw her in there. Let's have that character first conflict with Luke in actual live action Star Wars be here. Fans would have lost their minds. So once again, this is me spitballing here. I can't write dialogue. I can't do anything with that. But here's some big things. The last battle, the spin, that just every time the mod showed up, some of the decisions they made, it just, I wanted more battle, and at the same time, it felt like it dragged on. Everything with the Rancor was cool, except for the whole Boba Fett going ding, ding. Luke Skywalker just sending Baby Yoda with R2 felt off. But it was like, we can't explain, like, he's not going to actually show up and then walk away from the battle. It was just kind of a weird thing, a hard place. But I liked the scenes with Baby Yoda or Grogu. I thought they were very touching. So that's kind of my thing. Is I would have had more consistency. I had no problem with doing 2 timelines. Like I said, have that be like the first 3 episodes, maybe 4, but right in there. And then from then we go 2 episodes following The Mandalorian. Actually 3. We have one with him with Bo-Katan. We have the episode he had split into 2 sections on 2 different episodes. And then we go into the stuff going on with Luke and Ahsoka and Baby Grogu. And that has a couple episodes. And then we have them all start converging into a multi-episode huge battle. And then have some extra stuff come in. I would have brought in more of the legacy characters, at least the IG unit, because they've already done that for Mandalorian, so they've already got the stuff to do it. They've already done, all the Trandoshans, so why isn't Bosk there? Like, these are things that they could do that would really hype it up. This is Boba Fett. This is the crime world. Make him the good-natured crime boss that we're rooting for type thing. Don't make it so wishy-washy. Don't make the mods so lame. Look, we joke about their colors and how their bikes look. But if their bikes actually moved fast, and they actually did some cool fighting moves, we'd be a lot more accepting of them. But all in all, they're never awesome. And then, even when they shouldn't be upsetting, just seeing them in the shot, brings it emotionally down. Seeing them in a scene makes it less cool. Because that's how they've been shown. Because their low points are so low, they drag the whole show down with it. That last episode, with the stuff with the Rancor, that was amazing. It was awesome. It was nerd out fun. But it also was disappointing because of stuff with the mods. Hey, the pigs' lives matter too. Like that, they were done. Like that whole plan of let's send a couple people. No, let's not do that, because together we're a group of elite people that's hard to attack. Oh, we're not going to be able to spy on all these people. And so that was kind of a bad way. Like all together, they could hold off armies, but separated like that, no. And but I definitely wanted to see Black Chrysanthemum take on some Trandoshans. I think that's cool. I would have liked that maybe the families that were there on Tatooine, maybe they split. Maybe only the Trandoshans go and side with them, but it's just so overwhelming odds with the Pikes and then the Crimson Dawn coming in. So that's just kind of my thing. What I would have done differently. Overall, where do I rank Book of Boba Fett? I'm going to give it about a C. It wasn't awful. I will definitely rewatch certain episodes or certain scenes from it. I will have a desire to go back and do that. It's probably on level with the Ewoks movies. You know, it's Star Wars. It's not the best Star Wars, but it's Star Wars. Mandalorian to me is right up there with the movies. I give that high praise. Like if the OT trilogy is the A plus, Mandalorian's an A minus. The prequels are like B minus, C plus era. The sequels, they're sitting in there in the C's to the F's, depending on which one. And same with the prequels. Like there's Attack of the Clones. I do not like that movie, but there are scenes in it I like. But where would I rank it when I'm talking about that? Well, it's definitely well below the other 2 seasons of Mandalorian. I'm going to say WandaVision kicks it out of the water. I'm going to say that Hawkeye kicks it out of the water. I'm going to say that Loki is another show that had some up and down moments for me. I'm going to say Loki's better than it. I'm going to say Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Probably on par with Book of Boba Fett. That's where I'm going to rank it. Yeah. So, anyways, that's where I put it. Now, here's the thing, though. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm forgiving of that. Because of how they had to rewrite the script because of COVID. Because it's MCU Marvel, and I don't hold that to the same standard I do Star Wars. So, I'm more forgiving of that. So, in that way, I feel less of this show. But the hype moments were hype. Seeing Black Chrysanthemum, seeing live action Cad Bane, seeing the stuff with Luke, seeing the stuff with Mandalorian, like all that, seeing Boba Fett when he be cool as Boba Fett, it was great. Fennec Shan, if I didn't talk enough, I really love her character. Ming-Na Wen, she's great. I just wish the consistency in the show was better. I wish they'd done better with the mods. I don't have a problem with the concept of the mods. I just wish they were better. Sorry. What did you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.